This is an internal call.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, I have the worst headache possible right now, coupled with a blocked right ear, so I'm getting that cleared out next week, and finally I'll get some balance again. But a company that hasn't got any balance or semblance whatsoever, and are literally that woman who's hanging on for dear life, and the Sylvester Stallone 1993 classic cliffhanger is concerned, BioWare have done restructuring. They're reforming. They're changing their minds, it seems, because Dragon Age The Failguard was a catastrophic failure, didn't reach its goal of 10 million plus sales because how was that game ever going to shift anything at all except his own leftover feces? Nope, courtesy of Smash JT, we're going to look at the insider who divulged information to him. It's all like Deep Throat of the 1970s, and I'm not talking about Linda Lovelace, more like the people that went around in underground car parks to spill information. But without further ado, folks, let's get into this story today and see what it actually means for Mass Effect 4 or 5, depending if you ignored Andromeda completely, which I did.
All right, what happened? To who? To whom? And your goddamn father. Sorry, my face is tired from dealing with everything. And right now, I just want to know what happened with Alec. Not how he died. I pulled those logs. What happened with Pathfinder?
Her voice may be almost as important to gamers as Lara's double pistols, curves, and skimpy shorts.
Kung Fu Hot Dog is a Kung Fu renegade cop. Now he must defeat the most evil Kung Fu master in the world.
For a modern gaming audience.
For a new world of unspeakable adventures.
I said, Mummy, I like the way the lady runs.
Get ready for a new world of unspeakable adventures, never before shown in a motion picture. Get ready for Kung Fu Hot Dog.
Groovy.
Now, before I get into the story, folks, this is Smash JT's website. Really good, but the one that always catches my eyes, Alana Pierce, is a very attractive, pathological liar. You forgot to add, JT, that she's got a very impressive rack. That's what I would have added, but there you go. So on the gaming news portion of this story right here, exclusive insider tells all BioWare secret layoffs disaster behind the scenes. The reason why secret is in parentheses is because it's not a secret. Because when the spokesman, the CEO for BioWare, whose name I will mention during the course of this article, gave out a carefully worded statement online, it was covering tracks, but basically what they were saying was that, yeah, we're going to be redistributing our existing staff, and but also on the side note, we're going to move away the more senior people out with a big severance pack, because that's what we do here at BioWare. The general manager of BioWare, Gary McKay. Well, he's not from Scotland, but I thought it was a great excuse to insert this image in right here. BioWare caught lying by omission about many employees being let go. So JT's insider at BioWare reached out to him, confirming what he had predicted in his previous coverage of this story. Not Jeff Grubb, because we know Jeff Grubb is an absolute schlub at this point. BioWare ripped a page out of the modern journalism playbook and wasn't being entirely truthful. Listen, when has the mainstream media ever been truthful? Never. Only when it suits their needs and your needs. In other words, if they want to get popularity and traffic to their websites, or in the good old days, popping into a newsagent and buying the newspaper with a few coppers and pences everywhere, that's what it used to be like. But I'd never trusted the mainstream media because it only suits their needs, right? So, while the company skirts around the words and remains silent on the mentioning of anything to do with layoffs, now former employees have taken to Blue Sky, where social media goes to die, folks, to express their frustration, ironically, inadvertently exposing BioWare's attempt to downplay the situation and mentioning how BioWare was more concerned with public perception and YouTubers making videos than actually informing their own employees about what's transpiring, because at this stage BioWare knows there's an insider working in their domain who is going after people like Endymion and Smash JT instead of IGN, because why would IGN run a story like this? Okay, they wouldn't do it. Or Jason Schreier even, who at this point just seems so irrelevant. It's absolutely hilarious, but they trust people like Smash JT, Endymion, because these are two gentlemen who actually sit down, do research, take the time to do stuff, and it's hilarious. In fact, I remember when Jeff on one of his earlier videos this week covering this story on BioWare actually gave a shout out to Rebecca Valentine saying, oh yeah, and she actually did some journalism for a change and managed to give us this breakdown of what's happening in BioWare and who's actually left. And I thought that was really, really funny. A nice little dig at Miss Valentine, who, by the way, if you need further reminding folks, was the same woman who thought that game science, the people behind Black Myth Wukong, are absolute sexist pigs. So here we go, somebody called Anne Lee May. She was a writer for BioWare 5 years, from 2011 to 2016. I learned a lot during the time from exceptional folks, spelled with an X. I don't know if that's meant to be on trend, but we can clearly see why you've been a writer for such a short space of time, but also specifically from my fellow writers and our amazing editors, both on the Mass Effect and Drag On Age brands. Today, not a single one of those writers and editors remains employed there anymore. I will also get back to that point as well when I address the end of this video, because I want to talk about Ubisoft very briefly in my end statement. So, while it can be unfortunate to see anyone lose their jobs anywhere, quotes Smash JT, I can't help but chuckle at the irony in this post specifically. A professional for 5 years at BioWare, making multiple grammatical errors while simultaneously lamenting her employment loss. Leaned instead of learned was just the icing on the cake, folks. Now, I didn't see that he wrote this, so it's quite funny that he's actually pointed out the same thing I just did, which is weird. Like I said, I've got the most blinding headache at the moment, so my thinking is wobbly all over the place. And speaking of wobbly, folks, have these pair of chuckers on me. Oh, fantastic. And you got a senior writer here, Jen Chevary. After almost 14 years at BioWare, I am devastated. She sounds like a Gloria Gaynor song. To learn today that myself and others, or me, myself and I, if you're De La Soul, and others must now seek new opportunities. Cue the Incredible Hulk music. I am so grateful for all the learning, the challenges. I think she means Corinne Bush, the He-Man. And most importantly, the team. I will remember my time here with joy. Tomorrow we'll move forward. For today, I will be just sad. Honestly, it's almost like these are pre-rehearsed Oscar speeches at this stage, because you kind of felt they knew that the writing was on the wall, to quote GoldenEye. And they thought, yeah, this is going to be my swan song. And it feels like they've bitten off more than they can chew at this stage. It's so weird. Ryan Cormier, so my time at BioWare has ended. It was a wild ride, y'all, with some fantastic people. And he's an editor with 26 plus years, call it 30 plus years, across video games, novels, short stories, newspapers. Well, there's a hark back to the golden age of mainstream media, and marketing communications. If you know of a good fit, please let me know. Again, using no twice in the end sentence. It's very bad grammar, actually. But what does this mean for BioWare? So apparently there's going to be a town hall meeting next month, and it's all going to be determined whether the Edmonton studios for BioWare will actually close down. But couple this with the fact that a small group of people have now moved on to work on Mass Effect 5. And people are saying at the moment, well, BioWare have learned their lesson. They've seen that catastrophic failure of Dragon Age, their fail guard, and they have to realize now, if they don't get it out of the park with Mass Effect, whatever it's going to be, they're done for. And look, from what I know, all the actors like Jennifer Hale and the other people that voiced the characters of Liara and obviously Mel Shep, they have recorded their voices, or they're still in the process of going back to the studio. They might have to be recalled, actually. I just thought about this, to maybe record new lines of dialogue, new lines of verbiage that doesn't actually spell out wokeism or trans ideology or nutty stuff like that. So that could be something that's happening, and I'm just speculating, folks, because I got a Columbo-sized pea brain at the moment. Not insulting Peter Falk, because that man was absolutely the greatest, but honestly, I don't know what it means, because I'm still skeptical that we're going to get a brand new Mass Effect game, because like a UFO, I'll believe it when I see it. And if Miranda Lawson, that often celebrated female character from Mass Effect 2, which I like to call Mass Erect whenever I see her ass in the full view, then we'll have to wait and see if she gets nerfed. She probably will. And I know somebody said in one of my commented videos regarding BioWare and the Mass Effect situation that the first 3 games are woke. I don't actually see that at all, because it never struck me that they were. And even if they are, I don't care, because they are still 3. I mean, the first 2 games especially are fantastic. 3 definitely has its high points, but it's got some low points, namely Jessica Chobot. When she was working at IGN as reporter Diana Alders, but apparently she does strip off for you in the game if you're nice to her, so actually I would welcome that. And obviously Jessica Chobot, being the based woman that she is, knew her character was going to do that and thought, hey, why the hell not? But I bring that point up because that was the BioWare of old, when you didn't have activists sitting in boardroom meetings or anything else of the like to make their putrid suggestions. In fact, Endymion had a video out yesterday regarding the whole drama behind Assassin's Creed Shadows, and what was interesting, that the insider in his video at Ubisoft told him that when it came to choosing the character of male or female in Assassin's Creed, a lot of the player base went for the male characters, which I thought was hilarious. Now, I will say, when I've played Syndicate Assassin's Creed, I do like to vie for Evie. I called it Edie the other day. I was thinking of Edie from Mass Effect 2, played by Trisha Helfer, and who wouldn't get her out of their minds is anyone's reason why they wouldn't mention her name. But yes, getting back to Evie from Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I like her. She is great, but just her interaction with her brother Jacob is just such a joy to watch. And I know Endymion said in that game he didn't think the actual pairing in that particular title worked very well. I thought it worked well, because I don't nitpick stuff like that too much. As long as I'm enjoying the game and I'm liking the interactions with the characters, it doesn't bother me too much, so that's absolutely fine. And yes, they're doing that with Naoe and Yasuke in Shadows, but it's not going to work. And in fact, one point, I know I'm diverging off here a little bit, folks, but I know you like it when I go off on a rant, on a tale. But the thing as well with Assassin's Creed Shadows, why I said it does not look and feel like an Assassin's Creed game, because you're walking around a bare bone environment. There's not many NPCs you can interact with, and also Naoe, Japanese, Yasuke, a black African dude who came from Zimbabwe, I know I'm just trolling you there, historians, indiscriminately go around killing Japanese people. And in the actual old school games for Assassin's Creed, if you did that, a mob of the police or other people would flock you and kill you, and you'd have to restart in Animus all over again. And that mechanic ceases to exist in this game. So Ubisoft, what the hell were you doing? What the hell were you thinking? It absolutely makes no sense. And Ubisoft are trying to cover up their tracks as well in terms of slowly removing Yasuke from any advertising to make Naoe the main protagonist. And again, I actually have no problem with her, but when I've seen the gameplay footage from last Friday, uninspired, not moving, doesn't set my balls alight, nothing, not like the old school AC games. In fact, if AC had not been touched or tampered with, you know, it could have been as big as Call of Duty, I would say, because every time a brand new Assassin's Creed trailer or announcement was made, you'd get excited, or you'd get disappointed when you learned it wasn't going to be set in Japan. And finally, when it did come around to their senses, well, what senses they have at Ubisoft, what do they give us? George Floyd Mark II. But he's dressed as a samurai to seek vengeance upon those who wreaked havoc upon him. So utterly ridiculous. But anyway, folks, if you enjoyed this story today, make sure you leave a like below, smash that like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you catching me catching her for the return of my next video.
Right?